I've seen your comments, guys, and I know you want to see more options for this chief challenge. The poison boss, this dragon is a pretty nasty one. In today's video, I'm going to share with you a couple of different teams, and to be honest, the only team that can really take you to 22+ million damage without using some of the craziest heroes in the game is going to be Corrosion heroes, right? So I'm going to show you two different teams, one free-to-play friendly team, and I'm going to show you the big whale team that will score big numbers. This video is sponsored by Dragonheir Silent God, so I just want to say a massive thank you to them for continuing to support our channel and our content. Now, if you guys are new to this channel or you haven't tried Dragonheir Silent God just yet, what are you waiting for? Season 3 is in full swing. Awakening the Spring of Iskaland event is on, guys, so you can put your hand on a new awesome legendary hero. And that's not all. If you start playing for the next 7 days, guys, you're going to be able to collect 100 free summons. You've heard that right. 100 Starlight Dice. And guess what? You do have a chance to summon legendary heroes from here. If you guys want to get involved and you want to download Dragonheir Silent Gods or you want to help and support the channel, which by the way I really appreciate, you can download the game by using my link in the description down below or in the pinned comment or by scanning the QR code you see on the screen. But without further ado, let's quickly check what we're dealing with here. So this boss is very similar with the Tempest domain for whoever is familiar. He spawns some new small dragons, he flies in the air, so if you have any debuffs on him, they will expire. So poison heroes are not very effective versus this boss. You cannot stack tons of poisons on him. Once you kill the dragons, if you manage to kill them in time, he will come back, deal some damage, and you're gonna have to start applying debuffs again on him and slowly ramp up your damage. Now, Corrosion will actually stay applied on it. It's not a debuff, so Corrosion is actually extremely effective versus this boss. Now, he does deal quite a bit of damage, guys. Recommended accuracy 270. Let me just quickly show you the Psychic Core. So just so you guys have an idea, my Psychic Core doesn't even have anything on the last tier, which is going to be absolutely massive for people that are trying to push more damage with Corrosion, you know. On my account, my Psychic Core is in a much better state because I already have some of them maxed here, you know, especially for Ice and Poison for this season. That's what I'm running as my main team in the Vortex and everywhere else, you know, so it's definitely going to increase the damage by a lot. But let me just quickly show you first the free-to-play friendly team, and then we're gonna move over to something a bit more serious. The more damage, the merrier, because we do have a leaderboard in here, guys. So this is the team that we're running. Now, it is a free-to-play friendly team, but we do have a legendary hero. Whisk is actually pretty important in here. You could potentially do it without Whisk, but not with another epic that does Corrosion, because the problem with them, they have a very limited range on how they can attack the small dragons and they cannot kill them. So the main thing that we are doing with Whisk in here is to kill the small dragons. That's why Whisk is pretty essential. Now, I do have Witch's Remains on Flurbart. I have the Revatrix Roots on Dargo right there. I have a Volcanic Disc on Sabrina, and we have the Luminary Order Gospel on Hexandra. We have the Eyeball of the Giant on Whisk. If you don't have Whisk, you might have Sacredia, which is another legendary from the Corrosion, and she's actually a pretty nice one to replace him. I don't think she deals as much damage. I haven't really played her much, to be honest, but she does have 2 AoE attacks, which overall they will be better. How I mentioned, if you're trying to run with Gagner, the problem is he only covers this area. It's pretty hard to position him to make sure he's always hitting the 3 dragons, and these runs need to be done on manual to maximize the damage. If not on auto, because the dragons spawn at different times, the big dragon comes back at a different time, it's very hard to time it, you know. And this one right here is another AoE, a small AoE, but only when he's surrounded by enemies. So that's the main issue. Now, we do have another epic from the Corrosion. Again, he hits 3 tiles. He is a melee. It's going to be very hard for you to reach all of the targets, and this is a single hit. So that's why I decided to actually go in with Whisk. That is the run right here, guys. Let's actually quickly have a look at it. The main idea is, how I mentioned, you need to manual, because if you're not timing your skills right, you're just not going to be able to pump off enough damage. Dargo has a very slow animation. The orbs of corrosion go super slow to the boss, you know, so you need to take some time with Sabrina before you're using her ultimate to ensure that you're increasing the corrosion on the boss. And as soon as the 3 dragons spawn, the mini dragons, you want to use the ultimate with Whisk, and then he's gonna wipe the dragons off, you know. Then it's very hard to time it with Flurbart. You can put decrease attack on the boss right before he drops back on the map and deals the damage, but it's so hard to time it, especially because you don't know exactly when the last mini dragon is going to die. You know, I found it pretty hard to time it as well to get it done. It might be a bit of lag as well when he dies. By the time you click on it right here, we actually timed it perfectly. We put decrease attack before the boss managed to deal damage on us. That's going to be very important too, because the more you go into the run, the more damage you're actually going to get, and some of your heroes might not be able to survive. You know, we're waiting with that ultimate with Whisk, we're targeting the small dragons, and we're not one-shotting them, unfortunately, but it's still a decent damage. Now, I tried using both of the other epics to see what sort of damage we're getting on them, and my god, one of them was barely scratching their HP. Like this much out of the entire bar. I was like, yeah, you're getting benched. Get out of here. You're just not getting the job done, you know? Here we go again. This time around, I decided to try and use the ultimate on Whisk on the boss just to apply some more corrosion so Sabrina can actually deal more damage, because I've seen that the overall damage doesn't look too great. But look at the damage that the boss deals on our team. It's actually quite a bit, you know? So, because we have the Witch's Remains on a Flurbart rather than somebody else, it's pretty hard to have a consistent defense down debuff. That makes a difference. Now, if I'm putting that on Whisk, for example, I'm going to lose a lot of damage, and not killing the small dragons can be an issue, you know? And either way, then I'm applying defense down on the small dragons, which is not something that I want to do. I haven't really tried to use the defense down artifact on Dargo. I'm curious to see if I'm still able to apply enough corrosion like this so Sabrina can drop in some decent numbers. It's pretty hard. It's a tricky one when you don't have a full perfect roster of heroes to create the team, you know. But there we go. And how you may notice, all of them, they're just swapping positions on the map, moving over the after the small dragons, and that as well messes up a bit what we have, because we have the Puppeteer set built on a Flurbart. That should increase our defense, but unfortunately, how everybody's moving around, we're not getting the defense on everybody, you know, and that again weakens our team a bit. At some point, I know that I've done a big oof towards the end of the run right here, because I tried to apply the decrease attack with Flurbart right before and was a bit too early. Once you start clicking on it, if the boss is already in the animation, he's not going to apply the debuff. He's going to wait for the boss to use the animation, and then he's going to do his, you know. So that's one thing to keep in mind. How I mentioned, I do find it pretty hard to time it. Maybe some of you guys have a secret in here on how you're doing your timing to ensure that you have the decrease attack. So this one right here was when I applied it a bit too early, but either way, my team was not able to sustain that hit. You know, they were gonna die regardless. If I was able to put on that attack down right before the boss was dealing the damage, then I would have had a chance to survive. But still, we managed to hit the 22 million damage. We are quite a bit over 22, and Whisk is very important to kill the dragons, how I mentioned. If you have a legendary Sacridia, can do it. The epics from Corrosion, I just don't find them reliable enough. And talking about different heroes that can do it from the poison element, you could potentially try to I'm not even sure who should I tell you to use as a damage dealer, because for Sigrid you need debuffs to activate her her ultimate. Eli has a straight line when we are talking about damage, you know. So we got 27.7 million with these team guys. Whisk dealt most of the damage because he is killing the small dragons, 38.3. Sabrina 25. Then we have Dargo with 34.5. So Sabrina might not necessarily be the best option either in here. I don't think we're able to stack enough corrosion for her passive to really provide us with a lot of damage. But as an idea, this could be an option for some of you guys out there. When we are talking about damage dealers, guys, I feel like the best recommendation as an epic will be Horus. So he's going to deal some damage. He has 2 AoE attacks. He could deal with the small dragons. He can deal with the small dragons. But then again, you need to be very vigilant with your timing on the skills for Furbart, for example. Unfortunately, we did not have a better aura to really kind of like push the damage a bit more. So talking about the big boy team, guys. Yes, this is what we have right here. I can actually swap the artifact on him and give him something else. I don't need to have that. The eyeball of the giant would probably increase a bit the damage more. And yes, I'm using a lot of nasty ones in here. I'm using Fenja, Theoderem. I'm using Whisk. I'm using Dargo and Rook. Now, Rook does not have the exclusive, guys. I decided to go without it because it's a bit more realistic for the majority of you guys out there. And I'm going to show you a strategy that I have on my own account. Now, I don't have Whisk on my account. So instead of Whisk, I'm using one of the other epics to just apply more corrosion and put defense down on the target. But my strategy with the team like this is that I'm killing the dragons with Theoderem. So I'm not killing the dragons with Whisk here. Plus, Fenja deals quite a bit of damage, so we're going to apply defense down with him. We're going to put corrosion with Dargo now. And then, once that's up and running, we're going to go in with our big boy Rook. And we're already at 10 million damage. Now, we have the dragons. We have, of course, Theoderem taunting all of them, dealing damage slowly. We have Fenja going in with the ultimate, dealing a bit of extra damage. And we are just wiping them all off like this. Then we go again with defense down. We apply corrosion. And then we're getting ready for Rook to just basically go ham. Look at that. 27 million damage. And we're barely 1 minute in. Now, if I would have, of course, Whisk as well, I could do some insane damage like this as well. My team dealt 165 or 170 million damage last week without Whisk, of course, but by using this particular strategy, you know. So it seems like we still had one little dragon left alive in there. So here we go. There we go. And now we can go in with Rook. And the damage is just flying. And it will just go higher and higher and higher. Now, Theoderem already brings decreased attack with the battle skill. That's not something that we can time. And I do have the Gatekeeper staff on Fenja, which will give me a bit of shield, will offer me a bit of more survivability. Overall, she is a much better healer than Hexandra, of course. So I don't have to worry too much about the boss completely melting my team, basically, you know. And I could potentially use the ultimate on Theoderem again against the boss as well, every now and then, because I am dropping his ultimate energy. The only thing is I need to basically pay attention to more things like that too. And he could probably bring in 2 more million damage by using the ultimate on the boss. Maybe. He deals a decent amount of damage, but of course he's being eclipsed by the rest of them. Like if you're just paying attention at Rook, Dargo, Whisk, they're all over Theoderem, but that is absolutely fine, you know. It's not a problem. Oh, I just misclicked that one. I did not intend it to do it, but that's fine. Hopefully, no, we're not gonna get it back on time. There's no way in hell that we're gonna get that back on time, but that's fine. We're gonna keep them a bit longer in here, and then there we go. Gain that ultimate energy. Lock and load. And we are on the path to 200 million damage. I'm very curious to see kind of like what is some of the highest damage that people dealt with a team like this, you know. My Rook was a bit low there. He was in the danger zone. But look at that damage stacking. It's just nuts, guys. Absolutely nuts. So there we go. Taunt. Deal some damage. Deal some more damage. And slowly let's pick them up before the big nasty boss comes down to deal damage on all of the team, you know. There we go. You see Rook is getting damaged pretty seriously in here. We need that Fenja to come in with the shield at the right moment, you know. It's very, very important. 1 minute left, and so far we're looking pretty decent. Not gonna lie, I was expecting to deal a bit of more damage than this, but still is very, very impressive to have 40+ million damage per minute. It's pretty damn nasty, actually. So we got some battle skills going in there because we applied quite a bit of corrosion on that enemy. Just don't let my Rook die early, and we're gonna be spot on, and we can do that with him because he's gonna get back his ultimate. And let's go with Rook, and look at that, man. The damage is just crazy. Corrosion is so busted versus this boss. It's just like unbelievable. 160. We might not really get the 200 million, but we're very, very close to it. This is just as an idea, guys. I am curious to hear your thoughts. How are you guys running this team? You know, like what exactly you have going on with your team with the corrosion, you know. And look at that. Still pretty solid. Pretty solid damage. Almost 180 million. I'm definitely not complaining about this. But keep in mind, my Psychic Core does not have the tier 6. If I'm going to apply that, we're going to be well over 200 million damage. So that's one thing to keep in mind. Probably, if you guys have Rook and you have some of these crazy legendaries, you're definitely going to stick with Ice and Poison for this season. But look at that. We have Rook with 144 million damage. We have, of course, Dargo with 16 million damage. Then we have Whisk with 11 million damage. And we have Theoderem with 2.6 million damage. Overall, pretty impressive. Now, let me just quickly show you some of the builds that I have on. I had the exact same gear on my other team with the budget version, to say like this. It's not really that big of a budget, but you know. So that's Whisk with Witch's Remains. These are the stats right here on the side. I'm not gonna read them, guys. You can have a quick look for yourself in there. Then this is Rook. Pretty good stats on him. Good crit damage, decent crit rate, good attack. Theoderem, good crit rate, decentish crit damage. I would love more defense, but because I need that accuracy on him, I had to go with accuracy banner and an accuracy artifact. Then we have Fenja with pretty good enlightenment, decent defense. I tried to get some crit rate on her because she will deal decent damage as well. And then we have Dargo, and that's what stats we have on him. Fairly decent, I would say. That was all for this video, guys. Hopefully you found it helpful. The main secret for this is to manual the run to maximize the damage. If you're doing it on auto, you're not really going to achieve a good result. But that was all for the video. Thanks again to Dragonheir for sponsoring today's video. And if you guys want to help and support the channel, or you want to try Dragonheir Silent Gods, you can download the game by using my link in the description down below, or in the pinned comment, or by scanning the QR code you see on the screen. Much love, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Peace.